to go to the movies very often. So when I do, it's to see something that I want to see. Not that live action Dumbo thing that they're doing, which doesn't need to exist because the main character is just going to be a CGI animation anyway. Not the live action Lion King movie, which we don't need because all of the characters are going to be CGI animations anyway. I want to go see something like Into the Spider-Verse, which I didn't get to go see. I want to go see something like Bohemian Rhapsody, which I did get to go see, but was a weird experience anyway. However, when you buy your mother a $10 Christmas present from the dollar store, you figure you should probably give her something else too, since she deals with all of your crap. So I decided to spend my $25 AMC gift card on taking my mother to see Mary Poppins Returns. Off we go! And the only reason we went and saw it is because my mom is a fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote Hamilton, which is literally the only thing of his that she's listened to other than Moana. And she liked Moana too, but Hamilton is like her big thing. Like, we share a music app, and I'm not allowed to delete Hamilton off of it because she listens to it every single day of her life. I used to know all the words to Hamilton, and now I don't because I stopped listening to Hamilton because it does get tiresome after a while, especially if you run it dry like I did. She probably knows more words to Hamilton than I do now, and my mom has a very bad memory for song lyrics, so let's move on to the actual story. I'm probably gonna get heated throughout this video, and I apologize. It's just sometimes stuff happens, or even the calmest of people get a little heated. And I'm not a calm person to begin with, so I'm gonna get very heated as I explain what happened at this viewing of Mary Poppins Returns. Are you ready for it?
There's so much in store inside the door of 17 Cherry Tree Lane.
We get there 30 minutes before the movie starts. The theater's empty as crap because we're there 30 minutes before the movie starts. It fills up pretty significantly before the movie starts, but not with parents and their children. Oh no. This movie theater, which can seat probably upwards of 300 people, maybe more, I don't know. There's a lot of seats in there. This movie theater fills up with people that are definitely over the age of 35. Probably over the age of 50, if I'm being honest. And you know why? Because this Mary Poppins Returns movie is not a children's movie. I know Disney makes children's movies, technically children's movies. You would think Mary Poppins Returns would be a children's movie. Not based on the audience that was there watching it when me and my mother were there. Sure, there were some kids with their parents, but that's the whole point. I think their parents had more fun watching this movie than the kids did. And that's not to say that the movie did a bad job of like reaching a hand out towards the younger generation. Like, this movie is for you, it's got fun colors, and it's got children characters, and it's got song and dance numbers that really aren't great. Like, the overall plot of the movie is based on Mary Poppins coming back to see the kids that she babysat a long time ago as adults to fix their lives. Like, I feel like that story speaks more to the adult audience than the children audience, which you would think would be the market, since the original Mary Poppins probably intended to reach out to a younger audience. It centers around Banks' children as adults, right? And I don't remember their names. Jane and Michael? Yeah, Michael owns the house that he and his sister grew up in, and his sister spends quite a lot of time at this house. Why doesn't she have like a lifestyle of her own? Like, it's apparent that she works with the people who are struggling because of like the financial issues that London's going through at the time, which is great. But we don't get to see any of that, which as a history major I would have been much more interested in. But whatever. The point is, there were more old people in the audience than young people, and that's probably gonna reflect on the next part of the story, which happens maybe 5/7 of the way through the movie, maybe 4/7 of the way through. Well, no, because it was like before the BMX song number, so That's another thing. You don't expect to go to a movie that has Emily Blunt and Lin-Manuel Miranda in it that's about Mary Poppins and sit in your seat and like maybe 3/4 of the way through you go, wow, sick, BMX. No, that's not something you think is gonna happen before you go in, but it's something that happened, and you get Lin-Manuel Miranda riding a bicycle with all of these other street lamp people, lamplighters, you don't, like, no. What is this BMX trick number doing in the Mary Poppins movie? I know you messed it up anyway just by not having Julie Andrews in it at all, even as a cameo. But BMX? Sure, it looks cool, but does it belong? Not really. So, 4/7 of the way through the movie, we're all sitting there. We just got done seeing old Michael yell at his kids for being little shits, and the audio disappears. It just goes away. And like, if you listen close, you could still hear it, but it's very, very low, very muffled. Like it was coming through one speaker in this giant theater instead of however many speakers that the theater has. And people get up and leave, tell someone that the audio disappeared, and someone who works at the movie theater comes in and she's like, don't worry, we're gonna get this fixed, folks. And meanwhile, like, at least, I'm gonna say 5 minutes of the movie had passed by this point, and like, you can kind of tell what's going on. Like, the kids leave the bank with Mary Poppins, they get lost in the fog, and then Lin-Manuel Miranda appears and he's like, look, a light, and it's like a metaphor for the entire movie or something, like their mom was a light or whatever. I don't know, I didn't pay much attention to the movie because I was bored out of my mind. So you get the general gist of what happened in the 5-minute time period in which the audio is gone, right? You would think, anyway, with the adult majority of this audience. But apparently, people wanted it to be rewound. The audience, for some ungodly reason, shouts, "Can we rewind it?" For the next 10 minutes, maybe more, we, as audience members, sat helplessly in our comfortable red cushioned chairs with our popcorn between our legs, which we shouldn't have bought anyway because it was too big and it was going to be stale by the time we took it home. And we're watching as first the movie fast forwards 30 minutes into the future, and then we're all yelling, no, we don't want it to go forward, we want it to go backwards, you idiots. And so they rewind it like an hour, and then the audio comes on, and we're sitting there for 2 minutes watching crap that we've already seen, and we get to the point where Lin-Manuel Miranda is rapping again. I'm like, I don't want to sit here and watch Lin-Manuel Miranda rap again. Throughout the entirety of 2016, I was listening to him rap every single day of my life. How do you think I learned all the lyrics to Hamilton? So, eventually, whoever was in charge of the movie reel up in the little box room thing that's in the very back of the movie theater that has the little window in it, they get the idea that, oh, the movie isn't where it's supposed to be. We should fix that. And so they fast forward it again. And we get to the part where the audio cut out and the audience is like, yeah! But then, for some reason, they keep fast forwarding it like another 15 minutes, and the audience yells, no! And so the guy rewinds it again, too far this time, and we go, no! And he fast forwards it, and we go, no! Eventually, this back and forth ends after maybe like 5 minutes, and the audience just exhales with relief, and we're all clapping and shit by this point because we're over it. During this period, by the way, my mother got up, went to the bathroom, and came back. So it was a time, okay? So we're done with that fiasco. It's over. It's done with. We watched Lin-Manuel Miranda perform sick bike stunts on his very obviously not built for sick bike stunts bike. We watched the children speak lamplighter talk, which I still don't understand to this day. I don't understand the lyrics to that song. Were there even any lyrics, or was it just nonsense words like in Bohemian Rhapsody? Who knows? I only went and saw the movie once, and I'm not going to see it again when it comes out on DVD. It's just not going to happen. I apologize. We get to the end of the movie. where Lin-Manuel Miranda decides to climb Big Ben with his lamplighter buddies' ladders. Lamplighter buddies' ladders. That's an alliteration, and I dare you to say that 3 times fast, because I can't. I stopped taking theater my sophomore year of high school. That has nothing to do with it. Sure it does. When you're an actor on stage, you have to learn how to enunciate and speak clearly and speak hard phrases out loud for everyone to hear without messing up. I don't know how to do that because I stopped taking theater my sophomore year of high school because our theater teacher... Probably not something I should put into my YouTube video. Anyway. So Lin-Manuel Miranda decides to climb Big Ben to turn back time 5 minutes, which, let's talk about that for a second. 5 minutes? Like, he probably didn't want to turn time back 5 minutes. He probably had it, like, in his mind, like, oh, I'm gonna go back maybe 15 minutes, maybe a solid 25, just to give it real good time to do this. But no, he didn't, because he had no way of getting up to the actual, like, hands of the clock. And so, guess who decides to do that for him when she could have done the entire thing? Just Mary Poppins, Emily Blunt. She goes, and she pulls out her umbrella and she flicks it and she goes flying up. Like, why'd you, like, make Lin-Manuel Miranda risk his neck to fly up the... I don't get it. Why did she make him climb the entirety of this clock with precariously stacked ladders that looked like some kind of, I don't even know what, when you could have just flown up there and done it the whole time? And she turned back time 5 minutes. Honey, give him at least 10. Like, my goodness. I know it was like a good thing because that meant that the colonel or whatever his name was next door got to have his watch go off at the same time as Big Ben did, and he was like super happy about it because it never happened before or whatever. But my goodness, honestly, just, it was so much stress for the audience with all these old people who were probably like sitting there with heart palpitations because they didn't know what was going to happen, even though it was very obviously going to get resolved in the end because it's a damn Disney movie, unless it's a Marvel movie, which never gets resolved in the end. Whatever. They turned back time 5 minutes, which is a ludicrous amount of time based on the intensity of the event that they're currently in the middle of. Jane and Michael get to the bank. Colin Firth is an asshole, and he's like, oh, is it? And then, who appears out of thin air but Dick Van Dyke? And the audience, which, again, majority adults, loses its collective mind. We're all sitting there applauding our happy little butts off to see this old man, Dick Van Dyke, on screen with his wild white hair and his wild beard. It was like, you know how Blue's Clues originally had Steve as its host and then Joe came on when Steve went off to college? It was like Dick Van Dyke was Steve and he was coming back to Blue's Clues, and the audience was so happy because for the last 5 years we've been stuck with Lin-Manuel Miranda Joe, and we were over it because Lin-Manuel Miranda Joe, while okay as a host of Blue's Clues, was not Steve, was not Dick Van Dyke. So we're all very happy to see Dick Van Dyke on screen for the 2 minutes that he was there. And then, for some reason, at the end, they throw in Angela Lansbury. Why is Angela Lansbury in the Mary Poppins movie? I don't get it. It would have made more sense to have Julie Andrews play the Angela Lansbury part with the balloon selling stuff. And then, everybody just starts to fly with their balloons? Like, is nobody down below thinking, my God, am I on drugs? Should I put myself into a mental institution? What the heck is going on? No, it's perfectly fine. Everybody's floating in, like, at least 50 feet above the ground with their balloons. We're filled with helium. We're gonna go off into space and die of lack of air. Nobody is concerned. It's all happy. It's a Disney movie. Let's sing about it. So, in conclusion, I would have much preferred to save my $25 AMC gift card to take myself to see Into the Spider-Verse, rather than have had to dealt with the ordeal that was seeing Mary Poppins Returns in theaters. Because in the end, even though I was giving my mother at least a $15 Christmas present on top of the $10 bathroom cabinet tower thing that I had bought her from the dollar store earlier on, not. And I'm mostly angry about it still because I still haven't gotten to see Into the Spider-Verse, and I probably never will since I'm back at college now and I have literally no way of either paying for or going to a theater to see Into the Spider-Verse. And I shouldn't take it out on Mary Poppins Returns because plenty of Disney lovers were super into the movie. They're like, yes, Lin-Manuel Miranda is acting in my Disney movie. My little Broadway heart is just overflowing with joy. That was me unpacking Mary Poppins Returns in a trip to the theater. Maybe the next trip to the theater will be a little bit better. Hopefully.